Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare. Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tina Shanya
You take it? You want to take it? It's fine. You have the battery? Social media manager. We have the battery, yeah. 60%.
So we like to welcome today is Ankotta Prabhu for today's Sunday feast lecture.
Hare
Bo. Hare Bo. Thank you. Thank you. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, are you ready?
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Who is here for the first time? Very good, welcome. Okay.
Hare Bo.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha
यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण
नमो कृष्णाय विशिष्टभूषणाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी आचार्य निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पंचकल्पयोगेश्च कृपासंयोगे एवं प्रसिद्धं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण चैतन्य कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नमो गौरकृष्ण नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु निर्मलगुरु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कंस प्रदनमता नमो टू ते कंचना गौरंगी राधे वृंदावन वृषभानु देवी प्रणनामि हरे हे कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद हरे कृष्ण
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
I'm going to divide today's lecture into kind of two parts. The early part, and then I'll take certain places, areas, which is important in the promotion of Krishna consciousness, and how some people, modern innovation, like traveling the plane and all that, has helped Prabhupada to go 14 times around the world. Somebody asked the question, why did Mahaprabhu not do that? But Mahaprabhu was born in 1484. There were no planes then. There were no more modes of transport. If you travel by boat or by, but it might have taken 3 months or 2 months to get to a place. But Prabhupada was able to go with the help of planes to go to the various places, and was able to achieve going 14 times around the world. Okay? Now he was born in 1896 of a Brahmana family, and at the age of 4 or 5, he made a Rath cart. You can see he had a leaning towards the Rath Yatra festival. He made a Rath cart, and he used to take it to bed for fear that somebody might steal it from him. So he used to sleep with the Rath cart every night. And then in 1916, he joined a Scottish church college. So he was trained by Scottish lecturers. That meant more towards English, leaning towards British and Scottish education. Right? And in 1918, he married Radha Rani Tata. And I think that was in 1980. He was 22 years old at that time. He was only 22 years old. Yeah. And when he qualified at the college, he refused to accept the degree that they gave him because he was a follower of Gandhi. As a follower of Gandhi, he didn't like the British ruling over India. So you can see that kind of. But in 1922, a friend of his asked him to come to see Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati. And he had to convince him to come and see him. And eventually he went. When Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati saw him and had a chat with him, and knew of his background, of his education, and so forth, he said, you are the right person to promote the Hare Krishna movement to the West, to the English-speaking countries to the West. Now he had a choice. He could have gone to Australia, he could have gone to America. But he convinced, that's his name right now. To allow him to go as a passenger in his boat to America. The Australians later said to him, why did you not come to Australia? He said, but you didn't send me money. If you sent me a ticket to come to Australia, I could have gone to Australia. But I think the choice he made was better. There's more scope in America for him to promote the Hare Krishna movement as he would have done in Australia. Because Australia is only a small country, and it didn't have the scope that America has, right? So eventually, after several attempts, asking Srimati Radha and Marari to let him go on the boat to the boat was called Jagadusa, to go to America. Again, she refused. He said, "You're 70 years old. You're an old man now. You should be at home sitting on a chair and relaxing." But he said, "No, I've made up my mind. I have to go." And eventually, she gave in and allowed him to go. Now, this is a cargo boat. Do you know what a cargo boat is? You all know what a cargo boat is? Yeah. It carries goods. But there were 2 rooms in it, in this cargo boat. So they allowed him to have one of the rooms. And fortunately for him, there was a doctor, a resident doctor. And on his journey, he left on the 13th of August and arrived on the 3rd of August and arrived, just get the dates right now. It took him about 2.5 weeks to go there. He arrived in September after 5.5 weeks.
Wow.
And during the journey, he had 2 heart attacks. Later on, I'll show you how Prabhupada had 2 other events. And if any one of them affected him, we would not be sitting and talking about him. Okay? So there were 3 separate events that happened to him, but he was saved. Otherwise, he would have been, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. Okay. So, so 1933, he took his first initiation in 1933, and his Guru Maharaj was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. As he was the one who said, you are the right person to go to America at this stage to promote the Hare Krishna movement, and so that it will spread all over the world. And he was convinced then that he should do. And then in 1944, he published the Bhagavad-gita magazine. He used to buy sheets of paper, maybe it was 2, maybe 3 pages, and he stapled them. He used to write the story himself. He used to get it printed and stapled, and he used to sell it himself. And each time he got the money, he bought more paper. So, because his policy was, when you get money, get books. Print books. When you get money, print books. That was his first thing about him. That's what I do. And of course, naturally, he is promoting. And the other thing about it is, he wants to promote the Hare Krishna movement toward the world. He wanted to do what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said earlier on, that we want the Hare Krishna movement to be in every town, every city, every village, and wherever. And so, Bhakti Siddhanta has followed the same thing and passed that message on to Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada continued to took that to heart. And talking about the Bhagavad-gita magazine, I joined here in 2007. For the next 10 years, I shall sell the Bhagavad-gita magazine here. I should start off with 40 copies.
Wow.
I couldn't make it. Then I went down to 30 copies. I couldn't make it. In each year, you get 6 editions because they change every 2 months. So I dropped it down to 20 copies. And luckily for me, I had 20 good customers. And I know that some people complained that it was too expensive to buy this book. I forgot to bring it back. Have you ever seen a Bhagavad magazine?
Yes.
Okay. So what really happened is, all you have to do is take a bottle, put 8 cents in it a day. So at the end of 60 days, you have 480 cents. And to top that up by 20, you got 5 euros. So it's not a difficult thing. It wasn't a difficult thing. And but you know, I struggled. But when I had 20 regular customers, I said, that's great enough. I'll stick to this. And so for 10 years, from 2007 to 2016, I sold the Bhagavad magazine. I cut a leaf first to history. Okay, then in 1947, he was deemed Bhaktivedanta Abbey Charanavinda. His title had changed. Right? So Bhakti Siddhanta Bhakti-Vedanta Abbey Charana-Ravinda. Okay? And then in 1950, he became a Vanaprastha. Okay? That's semi-retired. Okay? But he was still at all. But in 1956, he went to live in Vrindavan. That means he detached himself totally to family, all members of the family. I mean, at this stage, he completely surrendered to Krishna. So that's in 1956. And there, he spent all his time in Vrindavan writing books. And he wrote the first, when he had written the first 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, he wrote the first 3 volumes, and then in 1959, he became a sannyas. Okay? And then in 1960 to 65, between 60 and 65, he published the 3 volumes. And now he had something to take with him wherever he went, whether he went to Australia or whether he went to America. And he somehow did convince the Srimati Murari to please let him go on the ship to America. And she agreed at the end. And then you know some of the things that he had 2 heart attacks. And luckily the resident doctor was able to help him by treating him and so on. Okay? So he left in, he arrived in Boston in 1965. He arrived in Boston. It took him about 5.5 weeks to travel on boat. And it's not easy to travel on these boats. They're cargo boats. By the way, I traveled from Durban to Southampton on a 26,000-ton boat. It is like a luxury liner. When I came to England, I came to London, see. That's the same way. It took me 22 days. But this was longer than that. And the journey from Durban to Southampton was shorter, as opposed to the journey from Calcutta to Boston. Okay? And so as I said, this is part. He left on the 13th of August and arrived on the 17th of September. So you can work out how many days that now, there were 5.5 weeks, or there about half weeks. Okay? And luckily he had a connection in America. And the connection was Dr. Gopal Agarwal. Right? He kind of sponsored him, in other words, to come. He landed on the 17th of September in 1965 in Boston Harbor. He stayed there for 3 days in Boston. And then after the 3rd day, which is about the 20th of September, he went to stay in Pennsylvania, Boston, in Butler, in a town called Butler in Pennsylvania. That's where Dr. Gopal Agarwal had his practice and his house there. So while he was there, he used to go to the YMCA and he used to give lectures there. But this was kind of arranged with Dr. Gopal Agarwal. And wherever he found, apart from the YMCA, he also gave a lecture in the church as well, as a venue. But after one day, and as I said, he stayed there and he cooked with them. And I should say one thing, you know, there was only one fridge in the house, right? And they had some meat products, whatever it was, fish or whatever. But in half of it, he had his own vegetable. And somebody asked him, in your mind, he said, no, I must accept what's there. And that's the way he went on. So he should cook and all that. And he said, the wife of Dr. Gopal Agarwal was Witty. Name was Witty. And the son's name was Richard. Witty. Okay? But after 1 month, he got tired of the place. But I'm saying this to myself, I'm presuming that he got tired. He wasn't getting anywhere. He had to return to New York. So after 1 month, he returned to New York. But Dr. Agarwal arranged for him to stay for a few days until he got another place. And then he moved into a really dilapidated building, like 3-4 story high building. And he stayed in one big room. And his room was separated by a curtain. That means there were 3 other people staying in the room. Like the way they have it here in Dublin now, you can go and live in a hostel now. And the hostels are not separate rooms. They are just separated bed, and then you got but that's what happened. Then he used to type there. And one day somebody stole his typewriter. And that really put him off. So he lived in this dilapidated building for 8 months. And every day he used to go to the market to buy whatever money he had. He used to buy vegetables and cook and so on. And then he didn't have many followers, because how do you entertain a follower in a room which has 3 other people, a big room, and it's only surrounded by a curtain? Okay? He did that for 8 months. And remember, it was October, right? And he got the Master's gift, the building called the Master's gift, in July. So it was 8 months. He used to get out every day, walk in the snow, and there were people sleeping in the snow, homeless people sleeping on pavement, on the snow, right? Of course, naturally they were covered. He used to kind of gently cross them over, not making sure that he didn't take them all. Can you really hear me? Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Then he did not take them. But every day he used to go to the market, and he used to buy vegetables and go back. So then what happened? One day, he did that for 8 months. He really suffered. Now why did he have to suffer? He's 70 years old man. He left home, went on his boat journey, which was difficult, and had 2 heart attacks, because he was determined to pass the message not only of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Bhakti Siddhanta, his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And the message was that he was the right person to spread the myth, the Hare Krishna movement to the West. Because he was knowledgeable, because he qualified, he's a college graduate. So anyway, he managed to continue to live there. And it was very difficult. Imagine there's no heat there. They had all they had was a shower and a toilet and his room. And of course, with his typewriter gone, it left him more or less with nothing. So eventually, they got the building called Master's Gift, and that was in July of July 1966, the following year, 1966. In this Master's Gift, it was a store, it was a storeroom. It was facing the pavement. But behind the main part of the building, there was a forecourt. And there was another part of the building behind the forecourt. So he used to stay in the back building. And all belonged to the same, like a complex, so to say. And now, but he used to chant in the front room. But then he decided, now that he's living in this building called the Master's Gift, he decided that he would go to Tompkins Square Park and chant there. Now there, he met immigrant people, like Polish, Cubans, and Mexicans. people from different countries were there. And when he was chanting, somebody asked at the time, somebody asked him, how come you can chant for 3 hours without stopping? He said that when you get into a rhythm, you don't change the rhythm. You keep the same rhythm. And you don't get tired. And you can chant many hours using that quality of the rhythm. So anyway, many people came to listen to him. As I said, there were Polish people, Cubans, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, and there were Americans as well. But the Americans were people who didn't want to go to Vietnam to fight. They protested against the government. They said they might as well join him. And slowly, many famous people, like authors and lawyers and all that, joined the group. I can't mention the name because there are hundreds and hundreds of names. And so slowly, he formulated a group, and he taught them the Vaishnava way of living, Vaishnavism, right? The reason for doing that is that because he wanted to send them to different parts of the world. Now, if you went to Australia, you couldn't do that, right? Because Australia is more than half Australia, 3/4 of it is a desert. And Perth is the other end of the world. And Darwin is north. And then you can work it out yourself. So he made a good choice for going to America. So the people who protested against the Vietnam War, they especially joined him and became earnest, and they learned, and they also he taught them everything, and then now he started to send them all over the world, to different parts of the world. Why? So that if they went there, they would start the movement, and then he will come later. So he had to get somebody ahead. Now he sent 3. Oh, and by the way, if he found that one male like another female in the organization, he would get them married. He performed the marriage ceremony as well. And he sent 3 married couples to England, right? And there, these married couples, they met the Beatles, one of the Beatles, George Harrison. And George Harrison at that time used to go to India because he wanted to learn about the Indian culture. He was that way inclined. That means at that time. And when he met George Harrison had an estate in a place called Watford. I have a cousin who was living only 3 miles from the temple. And so he maybe 40, 50 acres of land with the building, right? Gave it to the Hare Krishna movement. Gave it to them. And he used that, it's called the manor, and he used that as a center in Britain. Okay? So remember, he trained the people to become, so that they will be able to perform the entire ceremony on their own. And send them to Germany and various places. And many parts of America, like Los Angeles and San Diego and this and so I just mentioned some. And when I go to that place, I'll tell you more about it because there's a lot of stories behind it. Each one of the places had a story behind it. Okay? I'll just pick one now and then go. We'll take Venezuela. He sent 2 devotees to Venezuela. Now they started to chant in the college complex. And the people said, what is this Hare Krishna movement you're talking about? They picked up the sticks and stones and they wanted to beat them, actually kill them. And they ran away. And while they were running on the road, a car stopped. And the person in the car was a lawyer. He said, jump in. If they didn't jump in, they would have died. And quite a lot of our devotees have died, right? Especially a few in Russia. I'll come to that afterwards. So then he explained to them what we're doing, and then he joined one night. He joined the Hare Krishna movement. So you can see now how this thing is becoming bigger and bigger, advancing. Okay? In 2015, when I went for 12 days to Mayapur and Vrindavan, 5 of us were supposed to go, but 3 didn't turn up. Only one person wanted to go with me, and the person who went was a Venezuelan person. Right? I said, fine, we go. So we spent 5 days in Mayapur and came back to Calcutta, and now our next destination was Vrindavan. But she somehow injured her ankle and she couldn't go. Because in Vrindavan you have to walk. Right? So she wanted to go to Thailand. So she had no money, so I gave her some money. I said, yeah, take this money. But if I did not know about the Hare Krishna movement, I wouldn't have gone to India. Although in 2003, my wife and my 2 daughters went to India. But my reason for going on 2015 was to go to the temple and join, fully immerse myself in that and start to learn about, although I'm a Hindu, but there are a lot of things even Hindus don't know themselves. They wouldn't, But anyway, so then Prabhupada followed after that. He left Mexico City by plane and on his way to Caracas, which is the capital of Venezuela. And while the 2 devotees who went with him were sitting and having their puffed rice, a stewardess took a handful of the puffed rice and started to eat it. Oh, she said, that's beautiful. That tastes so lovely. She went back and ate the puffed rice and came back to them and asked Prabhupada and the 2 assistants, what would you like? Prabhupada said, get us 3 mugs of hot milk. So she brought hot milk. This, okay? And then 10 years later, see what, 10 years later, when the devotees were going in the Amazon forest, villages of the Amazon forest, selling the books and promoting the Hare Krishna movement, they came to a village, and when they knocked at the door, there were many houses, in the village there may be about 15, 16 houses, knocked and she opened. Oh, you members of the Hare Krishna movement, come in please. And when they went in, the wall was full of pictures of Prabhupada and Ram and Sita and then she explained who she was, that she was the stewardess who met Prabhupada. So you see, you can spread the movement not only by traveling in modern planes and so forth, also by word of mouth, also by puffed rice, even some puffed rice. Okay? So that was it. And coming back again, I'll go back again to another in June, are you okay? June 22nd, 1971, Prabhupada went to Moscow. There he stayed for 5 days. The KG, on the second day, a few of the KG men told Prabhupada to come the next day to their office. But luckily for Prabhupada, he didn't go. That is, because if Prabhupada went, they would put him in prison and throw the keys away. That's the second time Krishna has saved. One is heart attack and one was saved. If he went, the next day they will put him in prison. Right? There's one more to come. As in 3. That's coming later. So what really happened there is he stayed for 5 days, and luckily one of the devotees who went in advance befriended the son of the Indian ambassador in Moscow. So he knew the area quite well. He got used to knew the area, and he took them around. But the very important thing about it is that, like the way I'm talking to you, you can reply to my, if I ask what's 1 plus 1, you say 2. That means you and I are talking. They had to write notes by hand, little notes, and hand it. Because the KGB were following them all over. And if they spoke, they can have special machine that can pick up voices. Okay? So he stayed there for 5 days, but before he left, he met Professor Kodowsky. And when he met Professor Kodowsky, they had a discussion, and wherever Prabhupada went, he made sure that his representatives who were already there would organize him, Prabhupada, to see something important. Right? Not anybody. The reason being that if you talk to somebody more important, then you'll get, things will move, will spread faster. But now, come back, he spoke to Professor Podolsky, but he did not agree with what Prabhupada was saying. And he said, well, we Russians have our own way of thinking, this and that. Okay? Then he said, then Prabhupada said to him, you keep your Russian way, and I'll keep my Hare Krishna way. I'll follow my Hare Krishna way, you follow your Russian way. And then they departed. Then Prabhupada returned. But having said that about Russia, not finished about Russia yet, we were fortunate. The Hare Krishna movement itself as an organization, we're fortunate in the sense that before, Russia was run by Stalin, Joseph Stalin. And after that it was all of Yeltsin. And after that it was Gorbachev. Now Gorbachev of the three was the most moderate of the three. But other two were vicious. They did not want to have any, you either followed the Russian Orthodox Church or you followed nothing. But that helped to pave the way for the Hare Krishna movement to spread in Russia. Because the people in the villages had nothing. So that's why you can go to any city or town in Russia, there's a Hare Krishna temple. And in Moscow alone, there's a temple, right, which is underground. It's an underground, like an underground small city, but it's a temple actually, right? And there you got your restaurant and you got your playing place and whatever it is, and accommodation. This is underground in Russia, in Moscow. Okay? So so you see, it made it easier for devotees afterward, even for now. The present day devotee, when I say present day, I said that the last 20 years, to make devotees, to convert, not convert, I shouldn't use the word convert, to convince Russian people to follow the Hare Krishna movement. Right? So the vicious present of the past helped us. We should not look down upon that. That was a bonus to that. I'll take the next one now. Okay. Australia. While Australia was angry with Prabhupada for not coming there first, he had been to Australia 6 times. In his world tour, he'd gone 14 times down the world, but he'd been to Australia 6 times. And one of the very important members of the Hare Krishna movement there was Madhu Visa. He was already a graduate, he was about 28 years old. So he was able to help Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada was saying something, he would do the interpretation interpret what Prabhupada said to the Bhagavad. And Madhu Visa had a lot of power. Because he was about 28 or 9 years old, and as well as that he was a college graduate, right? And so one day, I was walking in the street, he passed the house, and this tree was hugging the house so tightly, as it was wrapping its hand around the house. So one of the devotees asked, why is the tree doing that? He said, see, in his past life, that tree was the owner of the house. So when the owner died, the owner became a tree. You see? Therefore, when our end is coming, we should have no attachment whatsoever. If you have attachment, you'll come back. And a good example is Bharat. Bharat went to the forest, left his son, and he was in the bank of the river, and this lion roared, and then all the deers started to jump over across, and one baby, the pregnant mother, and let the baby father had a baby, and he got attached to the baby. The attachment led to punishment. But luckily for him, he was in the next time he was born as a deer, and the deer stayed in the ground of the temple. You either become a member of a rich family, or you stay near a temple, and that's standard. Everybody knows that. If you're very old and you pass away before you achieve what you wanted to do, you come back again as a son or a daughter of a wealthy family. That means you have this thing that will help you to progress further in Krishna Consciousness movement. Okay. So we'll move on there from there, and we'll take another one. I think about India, I said to you what George Harrison. Oh yes, in India, when Prabhupada was building the temple in Vrindavan, a gentleman came to me. He said, Prabhupada, why are you building a temple in Vrindavan? He said, why shouldn't I? I get people to come here. He said, there are thousands of temples. Why are you building this temple? He said, but we're building a bigger temple so that all the people will come to this one venue. That's the reason. Then he said to him, do you have any children? Are you married? He said, yes, I'm married. Do you have any children? Yes, yes. Why did you make your wife pregnant and have a child when there are so many orphans in India? You see, he was correct with ways. You know, and the man then realized, yes, he is right. He has a right to build this temple. So Prabhupada built the temple in Vrindavan. But that was not going to stop anything. So, going further down now, you come to Canada. In Canada, as I said to you at the beginning, at the outset, wherever he went, the Vaishnava people, his Vaishnava trainees were there, and they were practicing. And then he went to Montreal. He went, he went to Montreal afterwards. But when the devotees went there, and who do you think they met? That one of the persons he met there. Devana Guru. And Devana Guru was a Sanskrit scholar. He said, they had a chat. And they said that you are the right person. We need you to come to Los Angeles. Himself and his wife, the Guru and his wife, lock, stock and barrel, went to Los Angeles. We want you to come and translate for us the Bhagavad-gita. One day, the Guru said, I've read this book 60 times. Then I challenged him there 2 months. You said you read the book 6. Did you really read the book 60 times? He said, no. No. But I read extracts of it, totaling 60 times, including reading it fully. Right? So you can see how powerful. And then, of course, then he met Prabhupada, later Prabhupada went to Montreal, anyway. But, so it's all about getting people from different parts of the world to join the Hare Krishna movement, following on the principles of what Bhakti with Siddhanta said, and Bhakti and Kirtan and Mahaprabhu said. His next venue was to go to South Africa. This was in the year was 1971, I think it was 72. But he couldn't go to South Africa. Why he wanted to go to South Africa? They have a huge Indian population. But he already sent his forerunners, right? In Latin they would call them cohorts. You send the cohorts first in a war situation, and then the other, the riders will come, the major people will come afterwards, right? So he sent them there, and then what happened then? He couldn't get a visa to go to South Africa. Luckily for us, that there was a Scottish gentleman who was a member of the Hare Krishna movement, and he arranged somehow or the other, I don't know how, I can't explain to you, he arranged that he'd get Prabhupada, maybe he got visa for him, he got the visa for him, and he was an assistant, maybe he told him that he was an assistant, and they went to South Africa. The first place Prabhupada went was to Durban in South Africa, where I come from. Okay? In the hall, in the town hall, it holds 2,000 people. And Prabhupada gave his first lecture in the Durban town hall. And there were 1,800 Indian people in the hall, and there were 200 Europeans. And after the lecture, quite a few of the Europeans came to him. Next, he wanted to know more about it, how we can help you, how we can spread the knowledge in various places. And there's one or two places where the temple is run purely by the Europeans. You see what I'm trying to say? And when he was there, after that he went to 18 venues in South Africa, different house programs. He went to 18 venues and he did programs there. Right? How much time? 5 minutes. Oh, really? Oh my God.
No, we can keep going.
Could we extend it to? Could we go? We can go about 15 minutes.
Yes.
15 minutes. This is very important. Just like this. You won't find the information out in one single book. You have to read the Bhagavad-gita, the Bhakti, and all the other people, and then they combine them to become that. This is what happened. We'll take the next one now. He went to Fiji. But before he went to Fiji, already his Vaishnava that he had trained was already there. Actually, they were not there. That's one place they were not there. When the people in the orange garb were chanting in Sydney, one gentleman called Vasudeva, he was in Fiji. His office was there in the second floor of the building. And he asked the people there, what is people in yellow garb chanting away? Then the Australian people said, oh, don't mind them. They're smoking drugs and they're drinking and they're messing around. And to prove that they were wrong, Vasudeva went to them and asked them and joined the temple for 2 full days. And she get up in the morning, Prabhupada Vasudeva should get up in the morning at 3 o'clock for the each morning, have the shower, have Mangal Arati and all that. And immediately he said, who is your follower? They said, Prabhupada, please, we want him to come to Fiji. And he went to Fiji. So you can see, it's all word and white, sight, hearing, traveling, mode of transport, right? So he went to Fiji. And when Prabhupada landed in Fiji, what do you think? What is the first thing he said? Does anybody know? Are there any snakes in the country? Why did he say that? None of you know? Not one yet, not one? You don't see it. Because the snake Kalia was banned from the Yamuna River because it was causing problem for the children who were living, who were swimming there. So he banned the whole family. So Kalia said, I'm not going to wherever be, right? He said, because Garuda will kill me and my wife and my children. So he said, I tell you what, I will make sure that Garuda does not harm you. And that's where Kalia and the family lived in a lake, on a volcanic crater, volcanic lake. Okay? You understand? So when Prabhupada went with his few people, his followers, he said, we'd like to go up there. And one guy went up there. He said, okay, two people go, and one guy, three. They went halfway. And the guy got so fearful that he said, no, you people go, I'm gone. They went another 1/4 of the way. And they both came back. It's all by Krishna's arrangement. They must not interfere with Kalya. I put Kalya there. I don't want now humans to disturb him. But Kalya can come out at night and eat all small snakes. So that's why there are no snakes, small snakes in Fiji. Now come back now to Prabhupada and there in the airport. And he entertained him. And Vasudeva took him to one of he owned many shops. They were like large chestnuts, big chestnuts. And one devotee said to him, you see in the corner there, they have meat in the corner. What shall we do? I said, don't worry. With time they will change. When we can get round them, that will go. Prabhupada is like a diplomat. He knows what to say and when to say. And he made Vasudeva and his family members got initiated and now, you wouldn't believe it, I would tell you, they have 5 beautiful temples in Fiji. The last one was built about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Right? When I mean beautiful, what we can build in this country here is no match. It's built in the Indian style with expense is no problem, money is no problem. The last one, there's a doctor who is a member of the Hare Krishna movement from the capital of Australia, New Zealand, Auckland. She walked in this last one, looking after the patients there, and half the money is given to the temple. So Krishna has helped from one temple, they went up to 5 temples now, and they're all beautiful. So with the help of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhakti Siddhanta, and Prabhupada, slowly the movement is spreading. And we shouldn't stop them. We should go I'll come nearly to the end of this now. I'll take Chicago next. Okay? Because this is very important. He sent his men, 2 of his Vaishnavas, to assess the area. He did that always and wherever. And after 6 months, he went. And there was one lady called Urmila Best. She is Jewish. She reads one book a day, very clever. And when she heard that Prabhupada was coming in 6 months' time to the temple in Chicago, she read all the books she can find about Prabhupada. Right? And she had when Prabhupada came, he had a special meeting for it. And by the way, the place they bought had 10 rooms. The owner wanted $350,000. Prabhupada helped to whittle it down to $300. Each of the rooms is so ornate that each will cost $300,000 each. And 10 of them, multiply that by 10. What's it? 3 million? Okay? And Prabhupada is very pleased. He said, that is fantastic. So when he did go to the temple there, and Urmila Best and her husband and her father, they had a special meeting with Prabhupada and they had reporters on that. And the Prabhupada asked Urmila, who is this chap sitting beside you? Is he your brother? He said, no. This person is my husband. Okay? Oh, I see. Okay. And then they had a chat, and the father was there and all that. And as they were leaving, the father, at the doorway, the father turned around and said to Prabhupada, greeted him, and he said to Prabhupada, now I know why my children, my daughter, has turned to Hare Krishna movement. He said, now I can see. Right? Although the Jewish people are very strict about leaving their faith. The very same thing, nearly the same thing happened in New York, right? Stephen Rosen is one of my favorite authors. I read all of his books. He writes 2 articles in each of the Metropolitan magazine every 2 months. 2 articles every 2 months. Okay? Anyway, so he came to join the temple, met Prabhupada and all. And he says, I don't think I'm ready to join the temple. He went and became a student, learning Sanskrit. After 1 year, he knew Sanskrit, he qualified in Sanskrit and joined the temple then, and met Prabhupada again and so forth. Now, I'll see what I'm going to do now. And she became Urmila Devi Dasi. And Urmila Devi Dasi came to Dublin 7 times. And in every visit she came, I was an audience, I was one member of an audience. Because I joined in 2007. She might have come even before my time, but she came during my time, she came 7 times. And I made sure that I was there because I'm kind of, I'm saying fan, but she writes articles as well, and books as well. She was there recently about 8-9 months ago. Right, okay. We'll move on to this one now. Mauritius, very important. 2 American devotees were returning home. Devotees, original devotees, were returning from India back to the USA. They made up their mind to stop at Mauritius. They said, we'll stop at Mauritius, we'll see what happens. Remember, Prabhupada never told them to go there, but they took it upon themselves to go there. And they found that this was the ideal place for Prabhupada to come. And when Prabhupada came, in fact, they deemed Mauritius as second India, because there are 68% of Hindu people in Indians in Mauritius. And a lot of my graduates, one of my friends who have graduated with me, hold important positions, like in government posts. And they were doctors and lawyers and prime ministers. And they were my classmates. I can recognize when I see them. Anyway, Prabhupada went and he gave lectures to the ordinary people. And also, in one of the meetings he gave a lecture, was the British High Commissioner of Mauritius was a member of that. And Prabhupada was very pleased with the reception he got there. And then, did I say 3 at the beginning? What 3 was?
Times his
Krishna
life.
saved him.
So, you say,
Krishna saved Prabhupada from
from
death.
that's the 3rd one. When he was in Mauritius, he was coming down a hill in a car. Okay? And an American tourist with his wife was driving on the wrong side of the road. You understand? We drive on the left, on the right hand side. In America, drive on the left hand side. They had a head-on collision. And luckily, not luckily, it's Krishna's mercy that saved Prabhupada. He came out with only scratches and bruises. He could have died, head-on collision. He could have gone through the windscreen, and he could have died. That's the 3rd time Prabhupada got saved. And we're ever so grateful for being with us. So you can see how important that. That's the 3rd one. Now, I think this is going to be the last one, and I'm going to stop at this one. Like before, he would arrange for 2 devotees who would be fully trained in Vaishnava to go and start, and 6 months later he'd go. So he went, the reason for them going is also for arranging that Prabhupada can talk to them. And they arranged that the Cardinal of France, Cardinal is the head of France. It's like the Pope. The Cardinal of France spoke to him, and they were having a chat. Okay? In the room they were having a chat, they had a bench, and Prabhupada was sitting with a leg up at the bench and so on, and he was sitting in a chair. And they had the glass door open, and people were looking in. And he went on to talk, the topic arose about not eating meat. But the Pope Cardinal said, but the animals, the chickens and the ducks and this and the that and that, they're sent by God for us to eat. He said, no. They sent by God not to abuse them. He went on to discuss this and about meat eating and so forth. But whether the Cardinal did anything about it, I don't know. But they had a nice discussion anyway. A nice and very friendly discussion. All right? So that's about France. Now, I don't think I left out anything. And luckily, one of the very important devotees, there are hundreds and hundreds of devotees. If I wrote them all down, I only picked 1 or 2. Yogeshwara, right? Who was very high in the ranking of devotees. Okay? He was able to speak English and French. So he acted as Prabhupada's interpreter when they went. Because they met ministers and judges and various other people. Right? And ultimately they had arranged for the Cardinal to talk to Prabhupada. Okay? So the runners of the cohorts. Cohorts is a word used in Latin. It's an infantry. An English word means infantry. They're the first one to go in the war. Cohorts. And these Vaishnavis have gone there and done that. But one more quickly before I'm going to try. There were 4 Americans, 2 boys and 2 girls, went to tour Europe. Eventually they came to France. But the girls didn't like the attitude of the boys, and they left. And somehow or the other, they got hold of a back-to-bottom line. Remember what I said? You can speak, you can hear, and you can see, and you can travel by plane. These are all modes of helping to promote the Hare Krishna movement. These 2 men, when they saw the book, they saw an address. But 6 years ago, up to 6 years ago, the Bhagavad-gita magazine had all the addresses of the Hare Krishna temple all over the world. But 6 years ago they stopped it. They gave a website that you must look through the website. And I didn't like that. But anyway, that's beside the point. These two men started to follow these ladies. Right? And when they ran, they ran. When they walked, they walked. Eventually, these two ladies went into a shop and said, we're looking for the Hare Krishna temple, and this is the address. He said, you're going the wrong way. You shouldn't be going that way. The temple is here, this way. Right? So they turned and went. And those people kind of stayed back and kind of waited until they passed them. And then they followed them. Kept following them. Eventually they find the address. And they opened the door. And who do you think opened the door? Indra Devna Swami opened the door. Oh, please come in. And make yourself John. Then I knocked him again, second knock. These two men knocked. And when they looked in, they got shot. It was a temple. And they said, what can I do for you? What can I do for you, gentlemen? Right? And they didn't say anything and they ran away. You see, they were trying to be mischievous. Okay? And they ran away. So, Krishna has ways and means of helping and protecting people. We are so fortunate from Krishna, from all the acharyas in the district succession, eventually coming to Prabhupada, and then they look and our Guru Maharaj, and whom in the nation will have their own Guru Maharaj as well. But I was the Guru Maharaj. If you don't have one, Prabhupada is the Guru Maharaj. Okay? And they say that if you don't get initiated, the chances of going back to Godhead is nil. N-I-L. Nil. So I can only ask people, when your time is right, to join the Hare Krishna movement. Okay? I told 3,500 years ago, the kings of India ruled the whole world until Abraham and the rest came in. And I got 2 minutes to ask questions, any question, because the boss is here. Prabhuji, you can ask questions. Any questions, don't ask me. And if anybody wants a copy of this, I can give them a copy of this. Yes, Prabhuji.
Why did you stop distributing the Bhakti-Gita magazines?
Sorry?
Why did you stop distributing the Bhakti-Gita magazines?
I will talk to you privately. Is that okay with you?
That's okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
That's a private thing.
I see.
But you're right. You asked a valid question. Okay? Why did I stop selling the Bhakti-Gita? It's a very valid question. But please, I will talk to you that question. Any other question?
Thank you,
I didn't deny the answer. I will give you the answer when I meet you again.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks for the lecture. Why do you think the movement spread so much? Like, what was a catalyst point, or?
I think the main thing is we should go to the point where a person asked Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 500 years ago, why did he was born in 1484, why did he not spread? There were no planes then, Prabhuji. There were no modes of transport. Prabhupada in his 12 years have got 14 times around the world. In 12 years, how many times will Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have gone? I tell you what, the answer is none. He wouldn't have gone more than 1,000 miles. He would take cart and bullock cart and this cart and that cart, this and that. Another question?
Like, I meant more from a non-technology standpoint, like, was the time right? Or?
Actually, the planes and communication and videos and text messages, when, some people think they're harmful, some parents think that they're very harmful. They're not harmful. It depends on how you use them. But if you use them for Krishna, then they're not harmful. If you can use them to spread the message, they're not harmful. It's the way that people use them. So you can't blame the manufacturers of these things. You should blame the user more than there. Anything else? Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, what can we do to increase our Shraddha into His Divine Wish, the Prabhupada? I mean, I feel like if I have more Shraddha in Him, I'll think twice before breaking some rules or...
Have you been to any temple in the past?
Yeah.
Was it, what temple? Any temple?
Yep.
I've been to Hare temple.
ISKCON Dublin says I've
Which one temple? Where what? Pune?
I'm in this one, and then in India I've been
But
to
where, which is
Vrindavan, sir.
where?
Vrindavan.
In Dublin?
Vrindavan, sir.
Vrindavan. Very nice. I've been to Vrindavan 3 times. And I've been to Mayapur twice. And I've done the Parikrama twice. Right, in my travels. In 2004, 2020, I spent 5 weeks in Gary. In 24, again I spent 5 weeks. I went many places. Sorry, you asked the question why?
like, what can I do to increase my Shraddha into Guru, His Divine Grace?
You should continue going to the temple. You should learn Saranagati. And Saranagati means to surrender to Krishna. It's difficult at first, but you'll begin to do it slowly. And only to associate yourself with association is very important. Associate yourself with devotees, not anyone other than devotees. So associate yourself with devotees. Because you'll be talking to them in the same language. Right? One day Prabhupada was walking in Juhu. I went 3 times and stayed out in the temple there. He was walking on the beach with the devotees, Prabhupada, and he stopped. It was in the evening. He said, look at the trees. They all look at the trees. What can you do? What can you hear? The birds are chirping. They're not chirping, chirping. They are practicing this, they are involving themselves in Krishna Katha. That's what we should be doing. You see? He used that as an example. Oh, thank you very much. But Krishna Katha. I don't think I answered your question, did I?
No, I think you did by visiting.
I think slowly, if you haven't done, they say A, B, C, D. A is associated reading book, B is books, and C is chanting. Have you been chanting?
Sometimes, Prabhu, I'm not regular in my chanting.
What do you mean by sometimes? Once a week, once a month?
Yeah, a few times a week.
No, Prabhuji, you must get connected. You must go to the temple and be a regular in the temple. You meet devotees, and you can start the chanting 2 rounds a day, then 3, 4, 5, The minimum round is supposed to be doing 16 rounds. Some people are doing, they're not initiated, but they're doing 16 rounds. They're doing more than 16 rounds, some of them. All right? So does it answer your question?
Yes, it does. Yeah, like follow the process and then it will come eventually.
Exactly. Gradually everything will come. But you need to join the temple. At least one temple. Okay? All right. Any other question? Anybody? The ladies don't want to ask me any question. Any question? No? Prabhuji? Thank you very much for attending.
His Grace Ankotta Prabhu ki
Yeah. Just chant one round of the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you for attending. Thank you for listening.
Books.
I hope I have given you some.
No, Keshav Prabhu is asking.
Okay? Thank you, bye.
Prabhu, do you want to distribute books? No? Bhagavad-gita questions?
Wait,
Yeah.
I think we'll skip this week.
Skip this week. Okay, Prabhu.
We'll skip this week. Okay. You might be running late. When we're running late,
Okay, Prabhu.
the number of people around are very small. Sorry about it.
No, you're okay, Prabhu. Yeah, Prabhu. Sorry, Mataji. Sorry, Mataji.
जय पंचतत्वा जय पंचतत्वा जय जय ओम विश्वपाल परम परिव्राज कचार स्तोत्र श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस अवचरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परम परिव्राज कचार स्तोत्र श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर जय प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त जय षडगो स्वामी प्रभु की जय वर्तमान आचार्य वृंद की जय श्री श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन धाम की जय भूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय नवदीप श्री मायापुर धाम की जय पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महाराज की जय सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय पतित पावन श्री नाम संकीर्तन की जय ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय ISKCON Dublin की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंद ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबली ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबली ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबली all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gaura. Hare Krishna, so everyone can sit down for national affairs now.
श्री बजरंग भगवान की जय। नमस्ते नरसिंहाय
सर्वभक्ति विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंहदेव भगवान की
जय।
भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की
जय।
निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Hare Krishna, everybody. Just a quick reminder. Well, not so quick because we have to think about it quite a bit. The Rath Yatra Festival is on the 26th of July. So many weeks? 3 weeks. Yeah, great. So 3 weeks we'll have finished Rath Yatra. We'll have, had the whole parade through the town here. A very important parade actually because it has helped us, make impressions here in Dublin. It has a very, very big impression that people can see that we are actually a very serious spiritual organization. And not only that, of course, is that Lord Jagannath is giving the mercy out to all the people, everybody. And we've been doing it since 1986. So 40 years we've been doing this. So I just wanted to let everybody know that it's on starting. I think we're going to start at about 11:30. That's the usual time we start up in the Garden of Remembrance. Everyone knows where that is? Garden of Remembrance? Parnell Square. It's just really at the top there. Afterwards, at 2 o'clock, we're going to have performances in Merrion Square. So we've got the whole of Merrion Square. We've hired out all seats and equipment and stages. All of these things that it's all going to happen by Krishna's grace. We are a little bit behind on the Lakshmi front, so I just want everyone to know that if they can, people used to have piggy buckets where they used to put in pennies and pounds and things like that, So if you have one of those, I want you to get a hammer and bash it now, because we need to get some Lakshmi in. Is that right? Ankotta Prabhu. This used to be Ankotta Prabhu's job. He used to harangue and harass everybody to help us to put on this festival. But it's things that just become extremely much more expensive to run, to do. Everything is going mad. Just get by hire a few chairs. It's practically impossible now. It's like anyway. It's thankfully we Adi Prabhu and others we presented it online exactly what's happening. And we've been very thankful that so many people have helped. But people have been throwing in 10 euros, 20 euros, 100 euros, 500 euros. It's been a whole big thing. But we're aiming to get towards, I think it's 17,000 or something like that. So we're on about 3,000. So we're a little bit behind. But it's just a friendly reminder. If everyone could think about it, but not only think about it, to exercise their wonderful free will to help set up this festival, because it's probably the most important public interface that we have with the whole society in Ireland. And I think that it will be the All-Ireland football final day. You can see all the people out there today. I think that's the semi-finals going on at the moment. Maybe wrong, I don't know for sure. But there's going to be more people in town to see Lord Jagannath. Last year was just amazing. That we went through it, all sides were completely full. Everyone was looking at, what is this? And so they all got to see Lord Jagannath. So according to our Shastra, it means that they will not take birth, isn't it? They will eventually go back to this. They will higher destination. They will higher destination in the next life, even if they came down to support Kerry or some other football team. They don't know it, but they will get a much higher destination. It's very mystical how these things happen. Very mystical. And we don't even realize even at this present second in time, we're creating our future life, our future karma. That shows you how powerful this living entity is in these bodies, It's just inconceivable. So the Lord of the universe, Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, the great giver of power in the universe, Lord Lady Subhadra, they are actually coming here to Dublin City just to give their audience to people. It's the most amazing thing, and anyone is going to be a benefit, Even if they've had 2 pints of Guinness in the pub, and they come out and they see Lord Jagannath, they'll still make benefit. That shows you how merciful the Lord of the universe is. Okay, so everyone should, if they can, get behind it, tell others, make sure we're going to have a big festival on the day, you know. Like, we've been having 200, 300 people, maybe 400 people on the parade. We want to hit 1,000 people this year, you know. We really want to fill the whole of O'Connell Street if we can, you know, right from top to bottom, you know, so that everyone can see Lord Jagannath sailing through. The outfits are being made, the paintings are being done. Lord Jagannath is just getting ready for the occasion. So this is your opportunity. And if anyone wants to give something, they can. It's on our websites, or they can. I can take payments downstairs if anyone wants to give specifically for this festival. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Hare Krishna.
They can hear.